One of the main goals of college is to expand your knowledge. Through research projects, you're meant to explore a variety of sources, then create something new from all you have learned. This process is called synthesis, and it is the best way for you to retain your knowledge. It is hard at first, but by the time you finish college, you will be able to whip out a 1,000-word essay in an afternoon. That is, provided you do the right things from the beginning. Plagiarizing other people's work to avoid doing your own is not any faster and leads to failure. Just to cover all our bases, all of the information in this video comes from plagiarism.org. As you're writing your paper, you need to keep in mind the various forms of plagiarism and ensure you're not engaging in any of these practices. Most of the problems can be overcome by giving credit where credit is due. We have that covered in the citation videos. Some problems are intentional, using someone else's words, changing words, and incorrect information about a source. That was a formal list. This one has more specific examples. You should already be familiar with the deliberate plagiarism examples. You know you're cheating when you do it. Accidental plagiarism often happens because of a lack of awareness. The first, to not know when and how, is easily solved with tutorials like this. Paraphrasing is a bit more challenging, but it goes back to the idea that if you can write it from memory, it is unlikely you're going to be using the same expressions. Knowing your material saves you. Finally, reusing work you have already done is also plagiarism. This surprises a lot of people. Each assignment is meant to be a learning experience. You're not learning if you're copying old work, whether it's yours or someone else's. Books are always an option, but for the most part, everything you use is going to come from a database, which means the internet, which means a URL is available. All citation styles have a way to add a URL to the citation. Your professor will click these links. If they don't go anywhere, or if they go to something other than the source you are citing, it is plagiarism. Make sure all your links work. When something sounds as bizarre as this student statement, the professor knows instantly it is plagiarism. It is as easy as pasting the offending sentence into Google to find out where the plagiarism came from. The paper was about the Constitutional Convention. That is its official name, and to call it anything else screams out that cheating is occurring. Now, look at weak compared to vulnerable. Just because a word is in a thesaurus does not mean it is an appropriate word for the context. When you pick the wrong word, it changes the meaning of the sentence, the paragraph, and the paper. If you're going to go to the trouble of rewriting properly, you might as well just write a sentence yourself. Of course, the best way to avoid plagiarism is to write it yourself. Do a thorough synthesis of all the information available to you. Even so, you may still end up with other similarities. After all, there are pretty limited ways to say Paris is the capital of France. The first and best way is simply to cite your source. You can't go wrong with this. Another solution, and one you should use, is a plagiarism checker. Ranger College uses a program called Turnitin. Your professor probably won't set it up for every assignment, but most papers are automatically sent through it if the professor sets it up. The professor gets the results at the same time as the assignment. You also get a copy of the results. Basically, it highlights sections of the paper that bear a strong resemblance to something else and puts the source on it so the professor can check to see if it is really plagiarism. If you have done your own work, you may still end up with 20 to 30% of the paper being marked as plagiarized. Your professor won't just look at the number. Some things, like that statement, Paris is the capital of France, will appear in thousands or even millions of other sources. It is pretty hard to say that any other way. Plagiarism checkers also find things like citations and quotes. You should always look at your plagiarism results so you know what your professor is seeing. Here is an example of what the professor sees on the grading page. This passage is actually 100% plagiarized. I suppose Turnitin is giving the student the benefit of the doubt. This is what the Turnitin report looks like. The blue highlighted area corresponds to a source on the left. Each different source has its own highlighting color. There are quite a few plagiarism checkers available online. You should use one of these before you submit your assignment. They're not quite as good as the paid versions, but it will help you identify any rough spots you need to fix before you submit. A really good one is at check-plagiarism.com. A Google search for free plagiarism checkers turns up dozens more.
Plagiarism hurts you as well as those you steal from. There's no reason for it. If you need help figuring out how to put your information together in a way that makes it your own, ask a librarian. We are here to help.